What is going on, everybody? How we doing? What a night at Arrowhead, which is just a fantastic venue. We will dive in, reacting to Monday Night Football. But first, I want to tell you about my friends at turtleboxaudio.com. I love my friends at Turtlebox. You know why? Because it's the loudest, most portable, and truly waterproof Bluetooth speaker on the market. It features, here's the key. You know, the thing with these, portable Bluetooth speakers is the battery life. Well, this thing has the longest battery life I've ever seen. So when you're out tailgating, when you're hanging out barbecuing, when you're kicking it with your buddies, it doesn't run out of batteries. And even better, they are now offering pro and collegiate team color combinations where you can show off team pride. You're a Chiefs fan? Get a red one. Packer fan? Get a green one. Come on, guys. Go to turtleboxaudio.com. Enter the promo code JOHN. That's promo code JOHN for $20 off your first order and free shipping. Impress everyone at the tailgate, wherever you're hanging out. That's turtleboxaudio.com. Promo code JOHN for the best outdoor speaker out there. Get on it right now. Okay, where do we even start? I think on a big picture, that is a remarkable place to watch a primetime NFL game. The fan base, the lights, the atmosphere, that's elite. I mean, that's the NFL. I mean, that's probably the NFL's best night venue on a Monday, Sunday night. We saw it earlier this season on Thursday Night Football. We see it on Monday Night Football. I get a little nostalgic for us kids that grew up in the 90s. Remember Marty Schottenheimer, Derek Thomas. Feels like they played on Monday Night Football a lot. That matchup, the AFC West. I guess I'm a sneaky Chiefs fan. I root for Andy. I root for those guys. Love Patrick Mahomes. But I've known Derek since he was at Fresno State. Like I'm rooting for him to succeed. And Max Crosby, how can you not like that guy? That was, even if you didn't have a rooting interest, you didn't have any money on the game, you didn't have anyone on your fantasy teams in the game, how are you not glued to your seat? I mean, that is why the NFL is king right there. Baseball, a month into the season, doesn't have that into the bag. In basketball, no one cares about a mid-November game. That thing, edge of your seat. I mean, the Raiders are a 1-3 team now. They're 1-4, yet it felt like a playoff game. That was fantastic. That was an elite product. I mean, I enjoyed every second of that, especially the second half. And it's going back and forth. Derek makes the big play. Let's face it. I love that Andy went for 2, went for the kill shot, tried to knock him out, didn't get it. Then Josh and Derek hits the bomb to Davante. He goes for 2, basically trying to take the lead, which wasn't crazy because if you think about it, if they ended up being down 1, well, if they take the lead, the kicker has missed kicks. So I don't hate that play at all. Ultimately, you have Andy and Mahomes, whose resumes speak for themselves, right? They've won a Super Bowl. They've had a ton of success. They're kind of the league's big dog right now. Now, the Bills play the Chiefs this week. We'll see if they can I don't think you can really knock them off in a regular season game, but it's a big week for the Bills. The Chiefs, well established, right? Been kicking everyone's ass now for 5 straight years with Mahomes. 4 straight AFC Championship games. Feels like they're headed back there again. Whether they win or lose this game, whatever. Pretty big moment for Josh and Derek, right? Josh is trying to establish himself. He can succeed away from Belichick, off to a terrible start at 0-3. Wins last week, gets a little momentum back. Looks like he has a chance. He's up early in this game. Derek is trying to match Mahomes in the second half. Doesn't feel like he's able to. Then he throws the incredible pass to Davante on the run. They look like they were back at Bulldog Stadium in Fresno 10 years ago. It's like, God, he's got his swag back. Then he has the chance on the final drive. And I can't put the third down play where he hits Davante in the hands and he kind of double clutches it and obviously doesn't get 2 feet in bounds. Then on the final play of the game, like, let's face it, if you're Steve Spagnuolo, send the house at Derek and see how he reacts. He throws up a prayer when 2 guys run into each other. Like, I'm sorry, that's a terrible play call. I can't have a low percentage play or even a finger cross, hope I get a play call on a must-have it down on the road against the Chiefs. If anything, quick out, quick slant, a run to Josh Jacobs, who has really been unreal all season. Don't forget, the Raiders did not pick up his 5th-year option, which I guess at the time wasn't that crazy, but he's clearly a pretty talented player, and I get you don't want to overpay for running backs, but the fucking dude is running for like $150 every single game. He was one of the best players on the field, and tonight was a star night. Mahomes, Kelce, Chris Jones, Max Crosby, Davante Adams. It was like, could Derek match all those guys? Because it is a star-studded event. And for the most part, I thought Derek was pretty solid. But ultimately, you're not judged on the pass you make in the second quarter. You're really judged on that final pass. And I just don't know where it's going. I just don't think you can make that play. Now, you could argue it's a great defensive call, bringing a ton of heat. They got right up on Derek, and he just let it go, but it wasn't even close. Even if the 2 guys hadn't run into each other, Randy Moss, Usain Bolt isn't catching that ball. And this is the problem when you get yourself into a hole in the NFL and you're 0-3 or 1-4. It's hard to ever get back to 500 because eventually you have to go on a winning streak, right? You got to win 3 or 4 games just to get a little breath of fresh air and be like 5-4. But if you don't, you're always behind the 8 ball. Now, clearly, the Raiders aren't some shit team, right? They're the Panthers. They're 1-4. They're atrocious. The Raiders aren't. But at the end of the day, their record is their record. So it's like, I don't see, like, they got some flaws. The offensive line, not really that trustworthy. It's just not. And they just always do some stupid stuff. Now, they did get an incredible call go their way early in the game. Obviously, Andy flips. The internet flips. I said this a little later on the podcast. Here's a simple reality. The entire country about 6-7 years ago turned on football. Everyone was, calling for the NFL to fold, concussions, the brutality of the sport. So the league, the NFL, college football, went completely the other way. They do not let anyone touch the quarterbacks. They make all these crazy targeting plays. Regular tackles are now 15-yard penalties, which bother me. I've always said I'm not going to apologize. I like football for the violence of the sport. And I got news for you. I think a lot of people do. Now, I'm not rooting for anyone to get hurt. I don't want to watch Tua lying there on the ground. But I also don't like these pretty basic tackles to be called roughing the passer or a defenseless wide receiver. There's no such thing as a defenseless wide receiver. You're literally playing football. You are running a route, and the guy is trying to hit you. Welcome to the sport. But the NFL has implemented these rules. They've clearly told the referees to be extra cautious, and now they lean, throw the flag at anything close. Now, you can argue, what the hell, that's not even close. But that's just the reality we've been living in for a while now. To me, the call against Brady, the call tonight, the calls for the last several years, we see this over and over and over again. Now, obviously, we're never going back to the Ronnie Lott, Steve Atwater, John Lynch, just decapitate people. But I do think we've jumped the shark the other way. And once we did, this is part of the deal, because they're always going to lean, protect the quarterback. I don't give a shit how basic the tackle or the hit looks. It's just part of the sport now. So I no longer get that mad at it anymore. If anything, I get really angry at college football when they throw out the kids in the targeting. Like, I think we all know nobody in the NFL and in college football is trying to hurt anybody, and these referees just constantly throw the flags. Like, to me, referees, for the most part, in all sports are pretty, inept. They're just not that good at their job. I've been saying it forever. But, like, when it comes to these tackles, like, they just throw these flags that 10 years ago you would have been laughed out of the stadium. Now it's just part of the sport, and it's laughable, but it's our reality. And the Raiders, let's face it, in the history of the franchise, usually don't get those breaks. They got one tonight, and they didn't take advantage of it. You're up big on the Chiefs. Somewhat of a trap game for Kansas City, right? They played Tampa last week. They're playing the Bills next week. Obviously, it's Monday Night Football, and it's a division rivalry. But, I don't think the Chiefs view the Raiders as some equal. And I don't think, and I've been watching the Raiders very closely now for a long time, I don't think a game has gone by since Travis Kelce has come into the league where they have covered him. Obviously, he had 4 touchdowns a night. He played, and he's been playing in the Tahoe Celebrity Golf Tournament now for years with Patrick. And he told somebody this year at, a reporter, someone from some random NBC affiliate, that he loves Raider fans. And the affiliate asked him, why do you love Raider fans? Because every time I see a Raider fan, I tell him I know I'm going to go for 200 plus and we're going to get a dub. Now, he didn't go for 200 plus tonight, but he had 4 touchdowns. And on this team, when Tyreek is no longer there, if you're the Raiders, under no circumstances can you let 87 just consistently get open, especially in the red zone. That's unacceptable. And I know Patrick Graham, who's on all these lists of being a next head coach, and everyone thinks really highly of him. Can't we double the guy? I would say the same thing with the Chiefs when it comes to Davante. Waller, who really, let's face it, Waller's been a little MIA for a couple years. He was sweet when no one knew who he was, and then we all knew who he has been, and now he's just kind of in and out of the lineup for about 2 years running now. So when Waller's on the sideline and sweats, and it's Davante and basically Renfrow, if Renfro's going to kill me with little sitting in the zone, little out routes, little slants, little just sitting right over the middle and hitting the ground, so be it. I can't let Davante beat me down the field. I'm doubling 17, and I'm doubling 87. I think it's pretty basic. And if I was playing the Raiders, I would stack the box because Josh Jacobs is going nuts. Chiefs get out of there with a win. Wasn't pretty. And the Raiders just, they are, to me, they're a better team than Denver. But, I just don't see how they get the wins. That's the problem with finding yourself in a hole. People start questioning themselves. Davante's throwing his helmet. There are going to be a ton of jokes on the internet about Davante leaving Green Bay. It's weird because obviously these guys are close friends. They've had a rapport for a long period of time, but they haven't played with each other since college. And Derek's just simply not even close to as good as Aaron Rodgers. And I listen, the Raiders, for a large percentage of Derek's career, have not played in big games. And when I say big games, Sunday night, Monday night, they don't play in prime time that much. Now, Mahomes and Kelce and Tyreek and Andy and Chris Jones and these guys, they've been playing in primetime games their entire career. There's a different pressure with that. You could feel it sitting on your couch. The fucking stadium's going nuts. You're on the edge of your seat. Every play's contested. The referees are on edge. It's just different. It just is when you play in these big games. Coming up on Sunday Night Football, I'm fascinated to watch Jalen Hurts. We've all anointed him. Now he's playing on Sunday night. There's a ton of pressure in this game Sunday night. It ain't the same playing in the day in Arizona or playing a morning game against Jacksonville. And I've been saying forever, he's been playing great, but we'll see how it looks with all the chips on the line. The same thing would go for Cooper Rush. But Mahomes, I have no issue. Josh Allen, never worry. Lamar Jackson, even when it's not going well, he'll figure it out. These guys are used to playing in these environments. And sometimes you see it with Derek, like, gets a little tight. And tonight on that final play, and his coach too, like, what the hell is that? What is that play call? Have no issue with them going for 2, just like I had no issue with Andy going for 2. You're playing to win these games. But when you are in specific situations, and it was a little unlucky, Davante, who's got some of the most sure hands in the league, double clutches that ball, that on the 4th and 1, I'm sorry, I need something kind of easy, whether it's a quick wheel route. Hell, I might even run the ball. I don't know. I need something higher percentage than some potential, blitz beater go route. I mean, the chances, even if he does get a free release that he hit that, it's probably 50-50. Hell, even earlier in the game, Derek was throwing lob balls to Davante, and 2 of them led to OPIs because he left them way short. Now, you can argue that's a good percentage, that you just get these penalties because these referees are so inclined to throw the flag. But still, I just don't like that play, with 40 seconds left, 4th and 1 on the road against the best team you're going to play all year long. And it ultimately cost them the game. And the Raiders now got to be kicking themselves for the way their season started. And the Chiefs look like they're cruising toward another divisional championship. And to me, what might come down to the number 1 seed this Sunday, going to be fun. Can't wait.